All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Courtney may or may not hop on. She is getting ready to travel some more. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up and get started. We're kind of gonna jump off of what we talked about last week, and go through some of the techniques behind. We're basing pretty much this whole thing for the next probably month or so on the cognitive behavioral model. If you want to write that down, there's several. Sorry, I'm letting people in the waiting room or out of the waiting room. There's several different models or images of this model. Some of them are a little more complicated. Some of them are a little more graphic. Some of them are very wordy. It's called the cognitive behavioral model, or CBT model, is also a way to find it. So we've been talking about cognitive distortions. For example, what we were talking about last week, irrational thoughts. We blow things way out of proportion a lot of times. So we're going to kind of go over some of the things we can do to detect those irrational thoughts, and then how to kind of trick ourselves into making them a little more rational. So obviously our situations, things that happen to us, trigger thoughts. Not only do they trigger thoughts, they also trigger certain emotions. So just because you have a bad thought, sometimes that won't send you in a full-blown depression, but it can. Sometimes having a situation that's kind of scary, it may not trigger anxiety, but it can. So we need to not only recognize when we have those thoughts, but also recognize the emotions that come with that. And then that leads us into how we behave. So we respond. Okay. So Courtney said she's busy. So last week we talked about kind of documenting those behaviors, documenting things that scare us, documenting things we want to improve on. So now we're going to talk about restructuring, now that we hopefully can recognize those things, the negative thoughts and feelings, and we're really going to challenge them. The best way to grow, most of you know, is to challenge ourselves. You can't really stay stuck and expect to grow. If you stay in that same, just one talent or just one skill, you have to challenge yourself to improve and to get better. So that's sort of the same way growth happens out of comfort zones. Exactly. So one technique, this is kind of what we went over last week, is called thought records. You basically record your experiences, and then you record how you behave based on those thoughts. So let's say I have a thought. I'm looking right at Tracy. Let's say Tracy has a stressful morning, and maybe she snaps at me for no reason. Like she's not mad at me, but I have that thought, oh my goodness, she hates me. Like she's not my friend anymore because she's upset. Is that rational? Like, just because she might have snapped at me? Probably I didn't even do anything. It's just maybe because she had a bad morning. She was stressed. So the way I now treat Tracy going forward is probably going to be irrational if I stay in that negative thought. If I think, well, she hates me because she got a little snippy with me, she used a one word response when she responded to my message. It has nothing to do with how she feels about me. She just maybe had a stressful morning. So I just blew that situation way out of proportion, and then that's going to cause me to behave in a certain way, rather than me thinking, okay, look, Tracy has 10 children. Tracy does this full time. She stays very, very, very busy. Maybe I just need to say, hey, Tracy, if it's not a good time, like, tell me when a good time to maybe approach you again. I'm sorry, I right. I'm sorry that you snapped at me too. So I'm looking right at you, so I have to use you as an example. Lord, the chat. Lord done told her about me. Brittany, it happens to the best of us. And it's not just Tracy. It happens with everybody. You have a really bad, stressful day, and maybe you're not ugly to somebody, but they catch you in that really bad moment. And maybe we need to learn how to do that a little better. I'm super guilty of that. I'll snap at somebody out of something that happens. Read into the tones, right? So that's besides the point. Knowing full, right. We need to alternate our thoughts towards the positive. And this is where I was going. Sometimes the mere awareness of our cognitive distortions is enough, just like we talked about last week. Picking up on those irrational thoughts, picking up on the emotions we have, picking up on the behaviors we've used in the past. Sometimes that's enough to push us out of those negative mindsets. but it's not always. Sometimes you have to put in a little extra effort. So the next kind of technique that is used is called Socratic questioning. Just like, here, I'll spell it in the chat if I can get there and type it without messing everything up. Socratic questioning. So basically, this is just like we were talking about last week. Is there evidence to support what's going on? Is there evidence to support Tracy's snapping at me? Is there evidence to say that she hates me just because she used a one-word response? I maybe said, hey, Tracy, I'm not going to be on morning meeting this morning because something came up. And she might have said, okay, fine then. She probably didn't mean anything. She was probably taking a little joke at me like, fine, don't show up to my meeting. But if I want to read into that, I could think Tracy hates me. I could think that Tracy is mad at me for something I didn't do, and I just blew it way out of proportion. Is there evidence to support that? Absolutely not, because I show up at every morning meeting and something. I'm the queen. Right. We are all really bad at reading into things, I think. So there's also the importance of are we misinterpreting what is happening? Are we misinterpreting? Everybody's showing up late. Am I misinterpreting what's happening? Am I, just like she said, reading into things? Am I overthinking something that's not really happening? Is there more to the situation than what is right in front of me? So I'm one of those people. I don't like to talk about my feelings openly sometimes. There's those certain things that you just want to kind of keep to yourself. And then we may move forward acting in a certain way, not knowing that it affects someone else. So if I am in Tracy's shoes and I snap at someone in this situation, they may misinterpret that. They may not know everything that's going on in my life at that very moment. And it wasn't that I was upset with them. Maybe I'm just stressed. Maybe, my dog died. Maybe, my kid's sick and I just have a lot on my plate. There's all sorts of things that affect the way people behave. So sometimes you have to read into it a little more, not just on the fly make an assumption about something, because there may be more to that situation. There may be more that you need to figure out in order to know how to behave and how to move forward. So don't get all the evidence before you act on something. Don't just make assumptions all the time. The next one we've touched on a little bit. I'll type it in the chat if I can spell it correctly because it's a big word. Decatastrophizing. Maybe I spelled that correctly. We've also touched on this one before. It's what we've been working on, thinking about those what if scenarios. If you remember the worksheets from last week, if you missed that, go back and work on or watch the recording. So this is where you talk about the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. Most often our minds go straight to worst case scenario. Why can't we think about best case scenario? What if this doesn't happen? Is this going to affect me down the road? What if XYZ happens? What if ABC happens? Don't always just shoot right for the worst case scenario, because sometimes the best case scenario is what will typically happen. This is the one I really wanted to focus on, and maybe you can help me do a little activity. It's called putting thoughts on trial. So you basically get to act as the attorney, the prosecutor, and the judge in your situation. And I thought this one might be fun because it's going to make you think really, really deep. And I know sometimes we don't like that, but we're going to try to play around with some scenarios. So you're going to defend your negative thought. So we're going to think of a negative thought. Here comes Sue Ellen. We're going to think of a negative thought. Then we're going to make an argument for why that thought is true. We need to make sure these are verifiable facts. What happens when you go to court? You can't be making your interpretations or opinions. We need actual facts. We need actual evidence. Then we're going to present evidence against that negative thought. So we're going to put our negative thought out there and defend it. We're going to make that negative thought seem like it's valid, it's important, and we need to push towards the negative thought. We're going to give an argument to why that negative thought is there, and then we're going to present evidence against it. After that, we're going to review all of the evidence that we have, and we're going to have a verdict. But what we need that verdict to be is more of a rational thought rather than that crazy irrational thought that we have. I'm going to see if I can pull up my worksheet. I should have got on here so I could screen share. It's not going to let me pull it up. Okay, so first let's find an irrational thought that we can, or even a situation. I think the one, I had an example pulled up and now it won't let me find it. Let me see if I can pull it up on my other screen. Okay, we're going to have a thought and then we're going to defend it. We're going to come to a verdict and see if this thought is accurate and if it's fair. Can someone give me a situation or a negative thought that we can work on? I will never rank. Okay, this one's interesting. Let me write this down somewhere so I can keep track. So I will never rank is our thought. Someone give me evidence for that thought. Put yourself in these shoes, whether you're going for 4K, 12K, 40, 80, whatever, or re-ranking. Just like she said, re-ranking sometimes is a struggle. Is there any evidence? Let's defend this thought. Okay, you're slow. No one is buying. No customers. Slow month. No followers. Not enough. Nobody likes me. Man, y'all are good at this. See, we're really good at defending these. Not consistent. That one's good. Y'all are really, because we're really good at these irrational things, aren't we? Nobody likes me, not consistent. Okay. So next, so our negative thought is I will never rank and or re-rank. Our defense, our evidence for this negative thought, Sue Ellen, you and your death. You just need, I'm going to kick you out of here. So our evidence for that negative thought, we're not going to rank, we're not going to re-rank, we might as well just give up and quit, right? Because we have no customers, we have no followers, we're not popular, nobody likes us, it's a slow month, and we're not being consistent enough. Let's be the prosecutors now. What is the evidence against that bad thought? What's the evidence against the negative thought? We're the prosecutors now. We've already defended. You've already ranked once, right? Maybe just having a bad day, just like we talked about. We need to quit reading into stuff. Already ranked. In your head, that's a good one. I think we do that too much. It was just a bad day. Good interaction. It's not always about re-ranking or ranking for that matter. Sometimes you can still have growth. Growing. Yep, you're thriving for free, Alicia. That's the most important part sometimes. Because if it wasn't for our thrive, we wouldn't be here. You're doing the do. See, y'all are too good at this. I don't know why we're so negative sometimes. You're still showing up. You're inspiring, part of an accepting community. You feel great, right? So all of these things are against their negative thoughts. So why do we have this so much? Give me some examples. Why? I know Alicia's good at this. So why do we stay in that negative thinking if we have all of this evidence? You guys gave me a few things of evidence to support it, but then you gave me like double or triple the amount of evidence against it. So why do we stay there? Why do we stay stuck in that I will never rank or re-rank mindset? There's no evidence to support it. Self-doubt, having trouble against this. Self-doubt, we're our own worst enemy. We help everyone else but ourselves. That is probably my biggest struggle, is that I'm so guilty of helping everyone else and I don't think about myself sometimes. I will push everybody else and lift them all up And then I'll sit there and put myself down and I'm like, why are you doing that? You're helping so many other people get something out of you. Why can't you take the time to not taking the time to see both sides? Right. Letting others' words define us. We are so bad about that. Or comparison. We are horrible, even if we don't say it out loud. We're horrible at comparing ourselves to other people. We're horrible at comparing ourselves to other people's success, seeing others' potential. Right. We compare other people's potential even. We're like, well, they've got all these followers. They've been doing this for 2 years. That's why they're so successful. We've seen people on our team, on other teams, hit rank super duper fast. We've also seen people hit rank super duper slow. So why are we comparing? Are they still successful even if it takes them a year? It just may take more time than others. Sorry, my dog and cat are fighting. Every journey is different, and every journey is also beautiful, right? Comparison is the biggest thief in this, because in really anything in life, because we sit there and we see other people doing all these things, and then we feel like we can't do all those things. Why do we compare? Can someone tell me why? Is there any evidence? I don't want evidence tonight. Is there any evidence to the comparison game? There's no evidence. Okay, so let's determine a verdict here. Let's try to get, we've kind of already done that, but let's try to determine a verdict for our trial here. So our negative thought was, well, thank you. Our negative thought is I'll never rank and or re-rank, because sometimes that's the biggest hurdle, is not necessarily getting to the next rank. Sometimes we get really defeated in the fact that we don't re-rank, not realizing that that's not the end game here. Like, we're still having success. Our customers are happy. Our customers are still on auto ship. We have growth within ourselves and within our team. Even if it's just like this little bit of growth, it's still growth. So our defense for our lovely negative thought that we're so wrapped up in, we have no customers, we have no followers, it's a slow month, nobody likes us, we're not consistent. And then the prosecution says, well, we've already ranked before. It's all in your head. You're just having a bad day. You have good interaction on your posts. People are liking, people are commenting, people are maybe even messaging you asking about your products. People are asking about your experience. They're asking questions. They're getting intrigued. They're getting a little bit, they're sliding into your DMs rather than you sliding into theirs all the times. I've had that happen before. They'll get curious and then they might leave you alone for a few days and you're like, man, I thought I had a lead there. A few days later, they ask another question. A few days later, they might vote that they want a mini or that they want to become a customer, whatever. Something will pique their attention and they will come. Just give them time. So you're still growing. You're thriving for free. That's the most important part. Our products are free. What more could we ask for? You're doing the do, so you're going to get the get eventually. You're showing up and you're working on your consistency. So what is our verdict? We're doing all the things. We're doing all the things we need to grow. So what's going to be our verdict? I know this sounds silly and I know this sounds too simple. What is our verdict? What is our rational thought here? Since we like to be so irrational. It is so irrational. So what is our rational thought? What's our verdict here? Just keep climbing, right? I will rank. There we go, Laura. That's the big thing. I'm going to write that at the bottom of my paper. I hope y'all are taking notes. I will rank. This is like a dirty, crinkled up piece of paper that has who knows what spilled all over it, but I'm going to hang this on my wall. I will rank. Is it okay if it takes me 6 months or a year or 2 years or 12 years? Is it okay? Is it okay if it takes time? Yes, because what's the point? What was our initial thought? I will never rank. Who cares if it takes you 6 months? Who cares if it takes you 6 years? I mean, obviously we don't want to wait that long, but it's all about the growth. It's all about stopping the negativity, stopping the stop. We're gonna, if we just stop, What happens? Nothing ever is going to happen. So if we just sit here and we say, well, I'm never going to rank because there's no customers, nobody likes me, and we just sit here and throw ourselves a pity party, what's going to happen? We're never going to rank because that's all we have stuck in our head. Courtney preaches that all the time. Whatever you think is probably going to come to pass, because guess what? You're going to get stuck in that and nobody likes me and I don't have any followers. So what's the point? What's the point of posting? What's the point of trying to reach out to people? Well, guess what? Your followers aren't going to grow. Nobody's going to like you if you're not presenting yourself, if you're not giving yourself to the community. If you're not giving yourself to your followers, they're not going to like you because they don't know anything about you. If you're not giving them the chance, how do you know that they don't like you? There's no evidence there. If there's no evidence, manifestation, that's right. And when we talk about manifesting, I hear this a lot sometimes, or on podcasts even, when we talk about manifesting, it's not like some magical sprinkle fairy dust that we're sprinkling over our situation. We are believing in ourselves enough to go get it. When we say we manifest what we want, it's not just us saying, yes, I manifest that next rank and then never do anything about it. You still have to believe in yourself enough to do it. It's not just going to happen. You have to get up and you have to go do it. I can't sit here and manifest me a sandwich and sit on the sofa. I've got to get up and go fix the sandwich. First, I got to get the groceries to make the sandwich, but you have to put in the work. It's not just going to happen. You have to, just like this mindset game, you have to work for it. You know, I said earlier, that's one of the very first things I put in my notes. Sometimes having the awareness is enough. Sometimes it is not. Sometimes you do have to put in work, and it is hard, especially when you're going through a hard time, especially when tragic things happens. It is so hard. It is so hard. And it's okay that it's hard. It's okay to have the feelings. It's okay to process. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to be there. But you can't stay there. You cannot stay in that negativity. You can't stay. Take the steps, take action. If we aren't afraid of some hard work, right? Are you afraid of working? Like, what's the point? Are you afraid? Or are you really afraid of success? I think some people get in their head, they're afraid almost of the success. It becomes overwhelming. You feel like you don't deserve it. What is there to prove you don't deserve it? Okay, you messed up a few times. Who cares? Everybody messes up in one way, in some way, shape, or form, but you have to keep pushing through. Like, that was the best example we probably could have ever used. And I hope you guys are writing it down. I'll send y'all a screenshot, or I'll take a picture and send this in the chat. It's like not even, y'all better like print it out and hang it up. I'm going to hang it up on my wall above my computer. If you sit there and say, I will never rank, you are never going to rank, because it stays stuck in your head. And then, you know, you may wake up tomorrow and say, well, you know, I'm never going to rank, so I'm not going to do my RCMs today. I think I won't reach out to that customer that messaged me 3 days ago, just because I'm never going to rank. So why would I reach out? I'm not good enough. They're never going to talk to me. They don't even like me. Tracy's blowing up the chat with her. I am 200K. Chant it and make the work ethic match it, right? And that's another point. You know, Tracy is running for 200K. Can she work like a 4K? No. You may have felt like it was hard to get to 4K. Guess how much harder it's going to be to get to 200K. And that's okay that it takes work. That's okay that it takes time. I hope you realize that. It's not, and don't see these other people. We have some on fire promoters right now, especially on our Thrive Army team. I mean, absolutely on fire. It's okay if you're not seeing the success they are. It's okay. Maybe, I know that was one of the things I wrote down to cover. It may have been Tracy, I don't remember, who asked, how do you handle when it's just not your time? Sometimes it's just not your time, and it stinks. Like, it stinks so bad, because you're sitting here saying, I've worked so hard, I have cried, I've poured my blood, sweat, and tears into this business, and I'm not seeing any results. And then somebody will come along and they will just push you right to the top. They will help you, and it may not even be volume. It may not be a promoter, you know, that's on fire under you helping push you to the top. It may be development within yourself. there may be something in your life that's about to take place to shift your mindset, to shift your thinking, to shift you into a new perspective. Sometimes it's not all about the ranking. Sometimes it's not all about finding a unicorn promoter. We preach that a lot, and it does help having unicorn promoters under you. But that's not what all it's about. This is a whole lifestyle change. And talking about mindset, I get like really passionate about it, and I just get off on tangents. But it's about growing within ourselves, because if we're not making changes internally in our mind and in our heart, we're never going to reach people. If it is all about the growth and the money, you might see some short-term success, but there's not going to be any long-term. And I'm going to start crying because we get so wrapped up. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about. People over profit. You can hit all the ranks. You can hit all the bonuses. You can make all the money. But if you're not making a lasting impact on people and yourself, it's not going to get you anywhere. That money and that growth just in your back office for your little volume, it's not going to matter if you aren't pouring into others, if you're not pouring into yourself, if you're getting so burnt out that you can't even do this anymore. Maybe not specifically on our team, but how many other leaders have we heard preach about? I've had 200K legs drop off. I've had XYZ legs drop off. Why? Maybe they got burnt out. Maybe they were just chasing the success. It's okay to chase the success. Oh, y'all are preaching in the comments over here. Tracy does work like a 200K. I'm happy you do. You're welcome. Brittany, feeling the Lord over here. I don't ever want to get burnt out. I don't either. And that's something that I think this mindset thing, why it's so important. Sometimes it's not just the negativity. She does work like a millionaire, and she's going to be a millionaire. We're all going with her. So it's not sometimes just about the negative thoughts. Sometimes the positive, sometimes these negative thoughts can make us even more negative. It can make us fall into the traps of this success. It can make us fall into the burnout because we just work, and we don't see any results. So they're like, well, it's not working. See you, bye. I'm going to go to another company. I'm going to go sell something else that has nothing to do with changing lives the way we do. Not only do we change lives with the products, we change lives with the way we are. We change lives with how we make people feel with the products. Sometimes it's not just about putting a mini in their hand. We are so much about impact. That's why we do the RCMs. Do we RCM just to get customers? No, having a more powerful why than fear is key. Right. Sometimes when we RCM people, it's not just to get a mini in their hands. Sometimes we meet some really, really amazing people. They may become customers. It may not be tomorrow after you've RCM'd them one time. Sometimes it takes weeks, months, years. Hillary never once RCM'd me. I'm from the same town as her, but that's besides the point. She never once RCM'd me. I watched her for a year and a half. But the impact she was making, the things I was seeing her doing online on her goofy little lives, because she's just a spaz, that impacted me. But it wasn't just the way she was doing, it was what she was doing for other people. They were raising funds for all the people affected in Louisiana. It had nothing to do with Thrive. I wanted no part of these silly little vitamins. I wanted no part of it. I was like, that is ridiculous. I will never do that. Guess what? Here I am. I quit my job. Joke's on me. It really is. It's on me. It's not just about the customer sometimes. It's not just about the volume. It's not just about the rank. So don't get so wrapped up on not ranking or the joke was seriously on me, y'all, because that first day of my mini, yeah, there were lots of tears. But I did it because that's the type of person I am. I was like, yeah, take my money, send it to people in Louisiana. I'll take your stupid little thing and put that stupid sticker on. And then here I am slapping stickers on everybody else. Like, you don't realize the impact you're making on people. You don't realize it's not just about, you can change a whole nother like someone else's mindset. I'm glad you took that stupid sticker. I'm glad to. But It's not just, you have no idea what people are thinking about you. And that's okay if they're being negative. I wasn't necessarily being negative towards Hillary. I just thought it was silly. And how many people look at us the same way? And her and I talk about that a lot. I was watching her lives. I would literally see her go live like at certain parts of the day and make myself notes to go back and watch it later. I was secretly stalking her, seeing for like watching for her to mess up. Not that I wanted her to fail, but I was like, something's going to happen. Like it can't be working that long. It can't, it's just one of those fads. How many other people are watching us doing the same thing? Everybody gets a sticker. That's right. Pass them out like Oprah. You get a sticker. So this has nothing to do with what we were really talking about, but I just got fired up over it because we get so focused on the ranks and the re-ranks and the bonuses and the getaways and the things that we lose sight of our why sometimes. Laura's saying something. I watched Alicia for 2 years after being with her. Right. Nothing compares. Nothing compares to what we have here. Oh, look, Sue Ellen's coming back. I didn't kick her out this time, though. You have no idea what kind of impact that you are putting on other people. So it's important to we keep talking about how important mindset is. It's important to keep our minds on the right things. It's important to keep our minds towards the positive because you literally never know what people are watching. I just have, because I lost my why. And sometimes it's not even that you lose your why. It just kind of, you lose sight of it. You got it back now, right? I just love y'all's little relationship. It's so cute. It's not sometimes that you completely lose your why. You just kind of lose sight of it. You just kind of put it on the back burner because you see the money. You see other people ranking. You see these crazy good rank advancement bonuses. And then you get discouraged because you're like, I could never do that. Well, what if you could? What if you could? What if you help somebody else? What if you don't hit it, but you help somebody else hit one for their family? Tracy's going to get 200K, but what if she doesn't? What if she helps her downline? What if she helps a couple of people get $4,000 for their family? What if she gets some to 12, 40, 80? What if she comes that close to 200 and she misses it, but she had, 20 other people get $4,000? How many lives did she just change by that? It's not always, did she just say happier than a pig in poop? I saw something about pig poop. Helped Brittany and Jason and Katie and Ann. See, look how many people she's helping. She's still, yes, regardless, she's going to be happier than a pig in poop, regardless. We all want to reach our ranks, but sometimes it's not our time. It's definitely Tracy's time. She's been working her tail off for this. But if it's not, but she changed who knows how many other lives. She got so many other people bonuses for their family. And guess what? If we're pouring into those people down there, guess what it does for us? It carries us on up. It may not right away. You may not see it this month or even in March. But guess what? By April, we shooting all these people to the top with us. You're going to get to the top. It's sometimes not about our growth. It's about our growth growing them. That's the key. I'm going to cry now. Don't judge me. Okay, I'm going to go read the chat while you cry for a minute. Now we're helping others. It's the ripple effect. Don't cry, Tracy. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Does anybody have any questions since I ranted about absolutely nothing? Okay, it wasn't nothing. We got off on a tangent.
Let me just say something really quick. So sometimes if your why isn't your why, then it's okay for it to change. I started off as my why, like, providing income for my family. That was one of my whys. But little by little, as I learned through the journey and not only self-developing myself, learned that my why did change, and it's an improvement from what it was to now. So if it did change, it's only going to be a bigger factor for yourself and for the people that you're changing lives. So Tracy, for instance, she's going to get that 200K. But her why I'm pretty sure it changed along the way, but her main priority is her family and providing. Sorry, you guys. it's providing for her family, and who knows along the way from what she learned from the hardships and all that, but she is gonna get that 200K, guys. She is. That's all I gotta say.
After you made her cry, that's all. And that's so true. Most everyone, I think this was one thing Alicia told me when I first started. Take your why and think about it. Is it truly your why? I always thought that my why was for my daughter, and it was, but truly it was for me. And we all do this. We all play this trick on ourselves because we think, well, my why is for this, or my why is for someone else. It's for you. It is for you. Because guess what? If your why is about you, you're going to obviously have that ripple effect, like someone said in the chat. It's gonna overflow over onto other people. Deep down, it's for you. This is one of those times, I don't want to say selfish, but you get to be a little selfish with yourself. You get to protect yourself. You get to grow yourself, not in a selfish manner, but to better yourself for others. The better I am, the better I am for my kid. That's really my why. It's because I needed this. Us moms, there may be some guys on here, but us moms are horrible about this. We do everything for everyone else but ourselves. Everyone else. I just walked out of a job of 12 years where I laid over for people. Like, stayed up late, went in all hours of the night for no pay, no appreciation. Pretty much got told my time wasn't worth being paid for. I'd be going in at midnight to deliver puppies for nothing. You can't tell me that's healthy. You can't tell me that was serving me. Did I love what I did? Absolutely. So it wasn't about the money for me. But once you do that for so long and you are underappreciated, not appreciated at all, really, you get a little bit of, I guess, bitterness in you, and you get a little bit of pep in your step. Hi, Phil. There's dudes on here. Phil has a great why. Phil's going to have an amazing story. Y'all just wait. He's from little old Smithville, too. He has an amazing story, and it's just going to keep growing. Okay, now I'm going to stop. I feel like I'm preaching. I'm going to cry, too. Stephanie, your why, yes, you will also find your why on these trips. If you can't go to a getaway, you aren't able to go to any kind of retreat, do something in your hometown. Get a couple friends and go to have lunch. Develop that why. Because when you get around like-minded people, it's something else. It's a whole different thing. So get around those like-minded people. Get around. Can't wait to go on the next. I know, we're going to see all of y'all. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close there. If nobody has any questions or anything else to say, thank you all for getting on and being a part of this. Next week, we're going to start talking more about our strengths, about our core beliefs. I think, unless Courtney changes it, we're going to try to talk more about what we are good at rather than what we aren't, because we focus too much on that. So I love you guys. See you in the chats. Bye.